We are letting the mind run amok, and we're not consciously choosing to hold the reins and say, no, I cannot afford to keep giving into this. The moment we have that little it means something is awry. Something isn't the way you want it to be. This is how powerful the senses and the mind is. But we are more powerful than that. Satyam param dhimahi. Satyam param dhimahi. Satyam param dhimahi. Jai Gurudev. So as you know, we're discussing chapter 2, three main theme. Who am I? The ultimate essence of self, Atman. And how to spiritualize, we can say, daily action, Karma Yoga. And now, Sthita Pragya. One who is stable, settled, established in wisdom. How does he move? How does he speak? How does he interrelate with people in the world? Yes? And we're on verse 60. So, Mala, let's begin there, please.
Sure, Didi. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Turbulent by nature, the senses, not free from attachment, even of a wise man who is practicing self-control, forcibly carry away his mind, Arjuna. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. Therefore, having controlled all the senses and concentrating his mind, he should sit for meditation, devoting himself heart and soul to me. For he whose senses are under his control is known to have a stable mind.
Let's pause here a second. I don't know if you heard what I heard, but I'm going to go back 59, okay? Look at what 59 says. Sense objects turn away from him who does not enjoy them with his senses, but the taste for them persists. This relish also disappears in the case of the man of stable mind when he realizes the Supreme. Turbulent by nature, the senses, even of a wise man who's practicing self-control, forcibly carry away his mind, O Arjuna. Therefore, having controlled all the senses and concentrating his mind, he should sit for meditation, devoting himself heart and soul to me. For he whose senses are under his control is known to have a stable mind. Did you get it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, Even the man who is wise, even he gets pulled by the senses. That is how powerful the senses and the mind is. That's what Krishna Bhagavan is saying. Oh, Arjun, control it. But let me tell you something. It's so powerful, even the wisest get pulled by it. So do your level best and devotedly, steadfastly meditate upon me. This kind of sounds like a losing battle. Yes or no? I mean, but this is why we really have to understand how important self-effort is in terms of our senses. Last week I had said it's important that you do homework for the week. Do you remember the homework? Did anybody remember to do it? Okay, because that's what these 3 verses are. I would love to hear from you. What did you notice? What did you discover about your own senses and your own mind? Anybody? Watson. Don't tell me you didn't do it. Lie if you have to. Did you not do it?
I did it partially.
That means a no. No cheating allowed. What is partially? See? No, hold on. There's no should or shouldn't here, correct? We're just doing the level best that we can and we're moving forward. But what is required is for us to police our own self. Clearly, with a sense of centeredness, and each moment beginning new and saying, okay, didn't happen then, it'll happen now. So just this sentence, I did it partially. One of the senses has pulled. Can you recognize that? One of the senses, remember he's talking about the senses and the mind. They both are strong, powerful forces which pull us away from wisdom. When that happens, we're not able to apply any of the knowledge we know. Sitting here, sitting in front of Gurudev, listening in class, we know, we are very clear. We really get the wisdom and the knowledge. Yes? But then we go out there in activity and the eyes look and they get distracted and the mouth starts talking more than it needs to and the ear starts listening to things that are not relevant for it. And before you know it, you no longer can apply the wisdom that you know, which is just the basic wisdom. Don't add extra things into your nervous system, because again and again and again dwelling on the same ideas, the senses again and again getting used about the same thing starts to create desire. I think he will get to that later, or maybe that was already discussed in Gurudev's video. But are you hearing what I'm saying? It's so easy. Like for me, I have noticed you can be walking, standing at the grocery store, and you're watching your breath, or you're doing japa, or having some sort of prayerfulness, and then you hear strangers in front of you talking about some restaurant or something that they ate, or some new food that they found in Trader Joe's. And where does the ears go? Immediately. It's over there, and it's not there, and then immediately the wisdom comes and says, senses are being pulled away. The ears are getting caught in the sense object. Okay, pull back. No, excuse me, where did you get that? Is that vegetarian? Ying, 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 and the galloping on the horse starts. And then 5 minutes I was sitting there having a conversation about food and vegetarianism, and suddenly I remembered my own homework. Oops. I said, okay, never mind, ladies. I'm practicing something and I just caught myself drifting away and I had to pull myself back. Did you notice how easy it is to do that, right? Speech. You're silently sitting there. You don't have anything important or any big thing to say, and suddenly somebody is talking about their situation in their office. You don't even have a job, technically, and you hear them talking about something that's going on in their center or in their, city. And before you know it, you're not just listening in supportive mode, but you're listening saying, oh, you know what we need to do in this organization? What we could do is change it like this and do it like this. And then you start giving input. Who asked me? Who cares what I think? Nobody. Not me, not them. But all I'm doing in going through what should be done, what should not be done, how we could do better, how we could not do better, my sense, the mouth is going into it, the mind is going into it, the ears are listening. I'm just developing a vritti, a vasana, a habit. And slowly, what is a neutral, apparently a neutral conversation becomes a vritti, a habit. And then I'm driven to go make a difference and make that change, whether I want to or not. It becomes a desire. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying we're unconsciously being driven. The horses, the five senses, are moving forward. That is the whole symbol of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna Bhagavan is holding 5 horses. And Arjun, the mind, is sitting in the back. As long as the horses are being driven by wisdom, Bhagwan, if you want, Krishna Bhagwan, by the divine force, by wisdom, the mind will be okay. But if the horses gallop and you have no rein, no control over it, then all the wisdom gets lost. Yes? Anybody else? What did you notice? Deneen, your hand is up. Please go ahead. And then Sylvia, you after.
I noticed that when my limbs are out of the shell, they also seem to have antennas. And they're scanning constantly. Just that awareness was such a gift. And the second thing that happened that was really interesting was noticing it, pulling back, being okay with pulling back, and feeling so free and so in control.
This is it's very, very interesting. They're little things, but it's constant self-effort. I went to a shop with somebody. I love fabrics. Look at already what I said. I love fabric. It's fabric. What do you love? What is that? You know? But okay. So we're walking. Normally I touch, you know, and the moment I touch, my mind immediately gallops into silk, not silk, cotton, linen, Egyptian cotton, poplin, this, shut up. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? It's creating a deeper groove. I already said I love fabrics, and then I go on touching them everywhere. Sense of touch is a sense that is very powerful. It leads me further and further into developing. But then I say, so I walked, I waited, I didn't touch a thing. And I just kept observing where I would be. Anything I saw, I didn't even allow the eye to stick to it, to start to wonder. I wonder, is it really silk or is it really cotton? You know, the mind starts to want to guess what it is. It's a vritti. I'm not saying we have to stop everything and control everything. It's just becoming aware how easily, how powerful our senses are and how quickly it drags the mind into nowhere land. And then we say, I've been doing the courses for so long and I'm doing these, and you know, and then the question basket is filled with poor me questions. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't know how to get out of it, but it's not enough really to just sit there with eyes closed in 3-stage position if we also don't apply the knowledge. So remember, in Vedanta, yes, Sankhya Yoga, in Vedanta, it is the path of buddhi. You have to use your own intellect to stop it from running. right? You have meditation path, you have bhakti path, you have Raj Yoga. So we have all the different techniques. But we also in knowledge have to apply the buddhi. What are the 3 steps? Shravana, manana, and nididhyasa. Listening to the knowledge does do something. It does put a tiny little impression somewhere in the system, and there is a quality of transcendence that happens. You notice as you're listening, something in you says, yes, oh, wow. Does it not do something like that? As we listen to Gurudev's knowledge or we hear the knowledge, as Mala is chanting, something opens up. No? Like, oh, yes? But that is just listening. Knowledge was conveyed that way in the old times. So Shravana, listening is there. But then you have to do manana, you have to self-reflect. Self-reflect means, who is this? How does this work for me? How is it going on for me? And then nididhyasa is the application of it. To some degree, we must continue to do that. That is the path in Vedanta. That is the Vedantic meditation, if you want to say it that. We have our Sahaj, which is, Raj Yoga, and our Kriya and the courses that we take. We also have yoga, per se, correct? And Bhakti, of course, where you see everything from the place of divine. Whatever I do, it's offered to the divine as an offering. But each alone is to take us to the ultimate truth, Advaita. You see, so Bhakti, Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga by itself is not sufficient. And knowledge by itself is not sufficient. But what we do, we just start, okay, please help me. Well, please help you means I helped you. I gave you some knowledge. That is what God and Guru are saying. Now use it. In part 1 course, you remember the guy, it's raining, there's floods, he goes on top of the roof. You know that story, don't you? No. He goes on top of the roof and he's a devout, spiritual person, and he starts praying, God save me, please save me. And along comes a fireman and says, please come down the ladder and we will take you. No, God will save me. Okay, they go. Another boat comes, come down and we will take you. No. Like these 4 or 5 different opportunities come where people come to save him and get him off the roof, and he doesn't. And eventually he drowns. He gets to heaven. I'm not sure why God let him into heaven, because look what he was doing on top of the roof, drowning and complaining all the time. But anyway, God is very compassionate. He let him in, and he comes and says, God, all my life I loved you, and I did all my actions in offering to you, and there were floods, and I prayed and prayed, and you didn't save me. Why didn't you send help? And then, of course, God has to use a couple of words and has to call him you idiot, Beukuf. Well, who do you think sent you all those people, the firemen and the boat and the so on, to save you? You didn't use the wisdom that had been given to you. Crawl down and get in the boat. Are you with me? So, Vedanta, knowledge requires again and again Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasa. Listening and then reflecting it back and then saying, okay, just for 1 hour, not all the time, but just for 1 hour, I'm not going to indulge in my senses. I'm not going to scroll. I'm not going to wake up in the morning and pick up my phone and start pushing my eyes to read or view or whatever it is. Just, I know, like people binge, watch Netflix. You watch one session and then it goes to that thing where it says intro, and you want to skip the intro because you want to rush your senses into the next episode. You're going to say, no, I'm not even going to press skip intro. In fact, I'm going to press the off button and sit here and see what that feels like, even though I have all the time in the world and I'm going to get bored, but I'm going to agree to get bored and press off and feel very proud that I controlled my eyes and my ears and my sense of touch and so on. We have to practice. For me, it's phenomenal. Just these 2 weeks since I read that verse, and the week before and this week, to really watch. You watch your plate of food. Somebody brings you food and you look, and already your mouth and your eyes are engaged. And then you say, I don't like that. I want that. Be quiet. You notice it, and then you say, just eat. That I'm going to eat last. No. I'm going to eat it first. To override your senses, not 24/7, maybe 1 hour a day, hour a week, whatever feels comfortable. And it's not just the senses that he says are powerful. What else is powerful? The mind. The mind also gets very caught up and lost in should be, should not be, I like it, I don't like it. And we always support the thing that we have always been supporting. What we don't like, we continue to push away. What we want and we agree with and think is the right thing, we run after. So what am I saying? 10 times do whatever you want to do, but at least one time, give in. Give in. Okay, you do it your way. Even if you think it should be another way, no, we do it your way. Even if you know that, no, I know better. Okay, I know better, but I'm just going to sit here and follow this. You have to reduce the size of the pothole that is in there. We all have to. Are you with me? Yeah. Remember I told you that Tata Prigya questions that Arjuna is asking are a way of not just description, but practices that we could be doing. You call that like verse 46, 47, something like that? That Arjuna is not just asking, oh, tell me what is he like? The answer is practices, things for us to start to be aware of, to do manana and nididhyasa on. Yeah? Sylvia, go.
All right, I did the exercise and I noticed how strong is my mind. I could at least remember once per day, I think, or maybe twice per day to do the exercise. I did it, but it was like so fast, like some minutes I could do it only. And then my mind started I couldn't notice my senses, but my mind I really noticed. Even today I was meditating and then at least I said, because I wanted like to rush the meditation. Oh, the mind wants to, all the time, my mind wants to go the future all the time. And then at least I did know I'm going to drop it and I'm going to be here anyway, as you said, and just observing. But I feel a little hopeless because it's so strong.
No. But you see, this is, remember, Bhagwan, Lord Krishna said, I don't remember the verse where he said, even a small thing will not go to waste. You see, and there is, it's, how do you say, exponential? At some point, it just starts to move. You know, the vasanas start to burn, if you will, or we start to have a say or control over the senses. But we have never stopped the galloping horses consciously. Only when we're forced into it. Have you noticed when you're fasting, right? After a day or two, the body no longer has hunger. Yes? Okay, after 3 days? Don't you notice you're fine if you don't eat? Yes or no? Wow. Okay. It does happen. You know, okay, let's not use the fasting example. When you are sick, do you not normally and naturally say, I don't want to eat, I don't feel like eating? Yes or no? There we see heads shaking. It could be your favorite dish, the thing that doesn't even get made very often, but you're sick, and if you're not feeling well, we naturally say, no, I don't want it. Is that having say over the senses? No, this is a happening. But it is possible for us to say no to it when the body is not feeling well. And then 3 days, 4 days, you don't feel well, so you don't eat, you don't even feel like eating. Some people even say, oh my God, don't show me food, I'm just going to throw up. I can't even look at food, correct? This also happens. But then you go to sleep, and then you dream about eating your favorite food. Yes? This just goes to tell you, remember what verse number 59 said, the trace remains. Even when the senses reject the food until we reach supreme awareness, established in wisdom, traces remain. They show up in the dream. I'm eating my favorite pizza or pani puri or, salt and straw ice cream, gooey chocolate brownie, whatever it is, endless amount. The senses are still active. Do you see that? The same is true when we're fasting. But once in a blue moon to say no or to draw a limit as to how much. No? All right, let's continue.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते. The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them.
Stop. Listen. Just see. The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment. You go on thinking about it, dwelling on it, thinking about it, thinking about what you like and don't like, thinking about what you want, thinking about what you don't have, thinking about how to get it. You go on thinking about it. If you notice, the world today does exactly this. They actually promote this kind of thinking. Focus on it, think about it, visualize it, do all these things and want it. So what does the mind do? It tries to hold on to what it has and keeps grasping for what it doesn't have that it wants. And what is happening here is attachment. Tight-fistedness comes internally. Are you listening? Do you see what I'm saying? What Bhagavan is saying? We go on dwelling in it. We think about it. What are you doing? I'm planning. What are you doing? I'm researching. What are you doing? I can't wait to do it. What are you doing? I'm thinking about it. No. Action and thought, when it's spontaneous, we've already discussed this in Karma Yoga, we yield results. But continuously thinking, it leads not only to paralysis, but it creates desire. From attachment becomes desire. And if you notice, we're not conscious of the desires that arise. They just arise, and then we start wanting to do something for it, or we mope about not having it, or we run after trying to get it. Now look, I don't know, this shouldn't sound like, oh my God, yeah, but that's just the world. Yes, it is the world, but what's supposed to happen here is if you pause, if you really do self-reflection, you say, what is that? It's a life of a dog, of a rat on a wheel. It's complete bondage. There's no freedom, and we think we're free, independent, vibrant, autonomous, self-sufficient beings. Is the mind running you, the body running you, or you are running the mind and the body? Who's running what? This is Pavlov's response, put the cheese in the maze and ring the bell and the mouse goes to, doesn't matter that it gets electrocuted, it keeps going for the cheese. And we pretend that we're not getting electrocuted. We pretend that we're not getting zapped for running after the same little cheese. It's very fascinating. Dwell on it and it creates attachment. Second sentence.
From attachment springs up desire.
And from desire ensues anger. Look at how it starts. We're not saying have desire, we're not saying don't have desires. For right now, just see how it starts. Continuously thinking about the same thing. How to get it, what to do about it, when to get it. They have it, I don't have it, what it will do for me. Daydreaming on cloud nine. When I do have it, I will be like this, I will do that, I will do that. This creates attachment. Attachment becomes a desire. So then somehow we will justify our desire, why it's good, why it's the thing to do, why I should go after it, why it's important, why it makes a difference in my life and everybody else's life. We add justification, rationale, logic, altruism to it. Yes or no? Are you hearing me? Are we connecting the dots here? And then from attachment springs up desire. And from desire, unfulfilled, ensues anger. Every irritation, for those of you who know me, right? Impatience, irritation, agitate. You know how quickly this system used to go through that, yes? All of you who've known me at some level or another. And, Gurudev would say, behind all anger is desire. And my mind would be like, what desire? I was just trying to tell them, look, if we stand in line, Gurudev will give better darshan. Instead of mobbing, hey, people, are you listening? Line up. Irritation, impatience. And my mind would be like, what desire? But you see, the desire to want a line, order, structure, perfectionism. Are you seeing? Creates irritation, impatience, agitation, anger. Now, not that that's good, not that that's bad, but we don't notice it. The moment we have that little it means something is awry. Something isn't the way you want it to be. How many of you have that? Say, no, Didi, you've been teaching for so long. Why aren't you patient? Pfft. Don't talk to me, look at you. Do you understand this? We are all caught in it. And then I would say, well, you're patient with 10 people. I lost my patient at 900. I have another 100 to go. So actually I am patient. Yeah, it's true. There is patience. But still, at 901, I didn't get what I wanted, which is people, can you just sit down and make this go faster so that I would like to go back to my room and rest. You see? We have to get that clear about ourselves. Are you with me? Because then you can laugh at it. That's when Guruji says, then you laugh at it and it falls off. And then you really don't. Okay, all right. You don't want to line up. God bless you. God bless you. You still take responsibility. People, line up. Look, he's walking through. It's so much better. Don't run after. Give a little bit of movement. No, okay. And then you hear, oh, so-and-so ran and they fell. And you say, okay, no, don't smile. Don't give in to that. Observe your own mind and laugh at it. Recognize it instead of, I'm good, I'm bad, oh my God. Like Sylvia said, I felt disheartened by it. No, this is the game. Then things start to take a different kind of movement. Oh, wow, this is unbelievable how this is. That's why it's called Maya. That's why 700 verses later, Arjun gets convinced into fighting, but then what happens? His son dies, Abhimanyu dies, and then he's back exactly where he started in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1 with Lord Krishna, and again goes to my son, my son, my son, and Lord Krishna again gives him the entire Bhagavad Gita. Are we any different from Arjun? No. How many times Gurudev has given us the whole Bhagavad Gita? It starts in every course, the very first sentence, belonging. We hear it all the time. It's in those 5 principles, the entire Bhagavad Gita. How many times have we taken that class? How many times we mouthed those points? But we are not established in the knowledge. Why are we not established in the knowledge? Because we're letting the senses run amok. We are letting the mind run amok, and we're not consciously choosing to hold the reins and say, no, I cannot afford to keep giving into this. Life is passing by, and I cannot keep wailing over this, whining over that, whining over this. How long? Come on, as you've heard Guruji say in the advanced course. No? Yes? This is a profound sentence, no? Dwelling on sense objects develops attachment. You go on eating. What is the problem about dwelling on sense object? There's no problem. You eat something, you enjoy it. Is it enough? You need more and more and more intense. The senses do not stop. You need new, you need variety, or you need more. Oh, I've eaten that 100 times. Let's try something new. Oh, I've heard that 100 times. Oh, I don't, We get in front of Guruji. Have we seen what we do? Guruji, some new knowledge, highest knowledge. What was he doing before? Talking about baking cookies? I mean, what? You see? No, can you give us some highest knowledge? You have to get under the table and hope he doesn't see you as part of that group at that moment. It's a fascinating thing. Senses want new or more. That's the only way. And that takes us down the road of desire and attachment and anger even more. This is a vicious circle. Yes? Continue, Mala.
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. From anger arises delusion. From delusion, confusion of memory. From confusion of memory, loss of reason. And from loss of reason, one goes to complete ruin.
Christ. Look, first of all, anywhere are you hearing, so don't ever have anger or don't ever have sadness or anything like that? Are we hearing any of that? No. What is divine anger? If you want to say something like that, it lasts like a line in water. Remember, he has said, Bhagwan is saying, even the wisest, they get pulled by their senses and their mind. The only thing is, they do not dwell in this. They do not rot with it. It comes like a line in water and it leaves. See, wise is one who knows how to get angry. Foolish is one who has no idea but keeps getting angry. You see? Showing anger or like a line in water that's purposeful is one thing. It comes and goes. You can drop it in the moment that it's come. That is okay. Then you are not swayed and caught and in delusion of the whole thing, but look at the journey. The senses dwells in them some object. which then creates attachment for that object, and you want more of it. You want something new. So you're making that sense get more and more wild, more and more like a wild horse galloping, which then leads into desire. And then we try to fulfill that desire. When it's fulfilled, it creates more desire. You want more of it because you have to try to hold on to what you have and match it up with the next guy. To make sure you don't lose it, you will have to continue. And if it's unfulfilled, it leads to frustration, anger, impatience, irritation, whatever energy you want to call it. And from there, from anger, arises delusion. We then give truth to what is not truth, what is changing. We lose track of who we really are. Then the body becomes real, and what we think becomes real, and what we project becomes real, and what we want we start to justify, and we get in completely out of the center and lost in the world of matter, Maya. Remember how delusion was defined early on. Delusion is losing awareness that you are self and getting caught up in matter, that you are body, that you are mind, that your emotions, that your achievements are you, that what you have is who you are. And if you don't have, you are not enough. Are we together? Are you following me still? Yes? So, from anger arises delusion. And then from delusion, confusion of memory. We know nothing ever good comes out of that state when you're frustrated, when we're dejected, when we're not clear, and we're just running after what we want. And what is the confusion? We get lost in who we really are, what matters the most, and we start to think, oh, if I'm single, I'm happy. If I'm married, I'm happy. If I have my own practice, I'm happy. If I have my own house, I'm happy. If I don't have children, I'm happy. If I have children, I'm happy. If I get into the Guru's room, I'm happy. If I'm out at the Guru's room, I'm not happy. All kinds of confusion of who you are, what matters, what is the essence of who we are, it all gets muddled. We see this on a regular basis. Even on a day like Guru Purnima, we see it in front of us. Yes or no? Who's there? Who's not there? Where is it? What's happening? And that's not right. I don't really care. They shouldn't do this. Why do they do this? And all the justification. Delusion has taken over. And now the memory is so confused that we start to believe what we under stable, calm circumstance. No, there's no point in getting caught up in that. I'm here to be in my center, not to be lost, not to get stronger in being a rat, and not to just get stronger in responding to Pavlov's response, correct? Yes? We forget that. From delusion, confusion of memory. From confusion of memory, loss of reason. And from loss of reason, complete ruin. We take a complete step out of the center, and we have now dropped into believing the truth of what is in our mind, the delusion of it all. This we know. I'm walking you through all of it. And what happens? It doesn't stop there. It's a vicious cycle. So the groove, the desire gets deeper. The want to fulfill it gets more. Frustration increases. Delusion comes. And it's just this constant thing. And finally, what does Guruji say? The desire finally gets fulfilled, then you're too old to do anything about it. You see, we're so old, but we have never tried to control the senses. And you see people in hospitals, in their bed, they cannot move, and yet They're only thinking about, I should have, and I wanted to, and I could, and they're 94 years old, and maybe they're in bed. I'm not saying they should be or should not be, but then they say, I used to run, and I can't run. You're 94. I don't think you're supposed to run. But the desire, remember the trace? That it's been allowed to run wild. Sense of self has been that I can run, that I eat what I want. Now I can't eat anything. Well, I get it. There was a time when you were 6 months old, you couldn't eat everything either. But at that time, you couldn't speak about it. It's a fascinating journey. And if we dig deep enough, we say, I don't want to be on that rat race anymore. I cannot just keep indulging left and right. See, the preference will not go away. If somebody gives you two things, you like what you like, meaning you prefer one thing over another, great. But you don't dwell on it if you don't get it, and you don't dwell on it if you get it. You know? I can tell you, sometimes when I travel to different countries, they will say, oh, Didi, so-and-so teacher came from such and such, but they didn't want to stay. Why not? Because they couldn't get their kind of food. They're used to Indian food and they couldn't get that food, and so then they had to go back. The tongue, I told you this story. My good fortune, I don't know where it came from. At the time I didn't realize it, was that Gurudev kept moving me to new city, new country, new language, new food, no devotees in the areas, arriving at a place, sleep on the floor or sleep on a pleather sofa or sleep in a bed, share a bathroom or have your own bathroom. You name it, rats walking on the beams of where you're sleeping, and a palace also. The senses couldn't sit around dwelling in it. At some point, they started to say, okay, so whatever. It was a gift somehow, as I said. I probably didn't recognize it, couldn't appreciate it, but just you keep going. What, you go to teach somewhere, you have 3 weeks. No, oh my God, I'm tired of salads. Eat the salads. Really? Go somewhere, part of that city, they don't have any food. They're opening a can of dog food and putting it on their plate. Then you say, salad. Just eat the salad. Just be quiet. I don't know, Sandra would remember this. We had a TTC, a 3-week TTC in Peru, in this convent, I suppose is what it is. And these nuns, they would serve this plastic burger every single day. And I would say, no, please give them some yummy, this root vegetable. Please give them the soft white cheese. It's TTC. And it was a 3-week TTC with blessing course and part 2 course, and it was Navratri, and you name it, it was all there in this TTC. And they couldn't spend the money, even though I was giving them the money. Please, here's the money from town. No, it would be that one bread and that weird burger. Didi, I'm eating it, eat the thing, just eat it. It's very important to start to become aware of how wild our mind, our senses are running. And then we don't know how to manage. For every small little thing, there's a big drama and a question gets dropped in the basket. It would be good if we dropped questions about the knowledge. Instead of, what should I eat? My stomach hurts. Go to the doctor. Yes? No, I'm not belittling this. I'm saying this is how powerful the senses and the mind is. But we are more powerful than that. That we mustn't forget. We are so much more powerful than that. No? Loss of reason, one goes to complete ruin. Let's do one more, Mala, 64.
रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानीन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति. But the self-controlled sadhaka, while enjoying the various sense objects through his senses, which are disciplined and free from likes and dislikes, attains placidity of mind.
See, he's directly talking to us now, sadhaka. Directly speaking to us, correct? The self-controlled sadhak, that's us, all of us here. Anyone listening to this is a sadhak. The moment there is a desire, aspiration for something higher in life, not just achievement, not just eating, sleeping, tasting, but there's gotta be more. When that comes in, you've started the journey of saying, now I need to start to look inward, to look at the senses, to look at the mind, and see how much it gallops. The self-controlled sadhak, while enjoying the various sense objects through his senses, which are disciplined. See, so it doesn't mean don't enjoy. It doesn't mean eat bland food like in Gandhiji's ashram, put neem chutney on everything like Gurudev has told that story. No! Enjoy it. Don't dwell in it. Don't be caught in it. See that the senses are disciplined. No, if khichdi is all you got and it's 8 years of eating khichdi, morning, noon and night, no problem. And you enjoy it without dwelling in it. If salad is what you have, amazing. If you have nothing, you're walking through the airport, you know it's 1990, you get a bagel. Vegetarianism is not so simple. Okay. Then you have some say over hunger, you have some say over your senses, which then you start to have some say over the mind. What does that mean? You observe the mind and you say, okay, you do whatever you want, I'm headed this way. You see? Senses which are disciplined and free from likes and dislikes. I don't like that, I like that, I don't do this, I don't do that, is equanimous in mind. Then we start to use the knowledge. Then we get to establish more in the knowledge. Then we are moving towards sthita pragya step by step by step. But we have to work towards it. And Karma Yoga, what was discussed earlier, helps to purify the mind, helps to purify the rag and the dvesh, the craving and the aversion. That I like it, I don't like it, this should be, this should not be, this is right, this is wrong. You still have your clear, firm direction, you can say opinion if you want to, but you're not caught up in it. It does not run you. You run it. You choose. You are in charge. Then with our sadhana, our seva, our practices, remember selfless action, what does it do? Purifies the nervous system, purifies the craving and aversion. Unless, of course, your sadhana becomes your ambitious, successful achievement to show everybody, then it's good work with the same tendency. But it's still better than bad work with the same tendency. If you want, you can look at it like that. Yes? Okay. 7:05. We'll stop here for now. That was what? 64? Okay. Any questions?
Hi, Didi. This is Gita, if you don't mind me asking a question. Actually, I lost the connection for a few minutes, so I don't know if you actually answered this or shared about this. I wanted to know, how is Karma Yoga, how does it help as to the craving and the aversion? How does it reduce?
So I think what would be good is if you go back to one of the videos on Karma Yoga. Just go through it again, because it's not a short answer. But what I can do and what I can say is, if we look at Arjun for this moment, he enters the battlefield with a personal ambitious goal. It's a purely self-serving goal, right? I want revenge. My brother should have the kingdom. My wife needs to, uphold her honor. It's my right. And it is true, rightfully so. The kingdom did belong to the Pandus, but he's coming with a very personal gain. And then Lord Krishna speaks to him and expands his mind into ethical, moral action that is rightful for a prince and a warrior. It's not enough to think about just what's good for you, but what about the kingdom? What about the citizens? What about dharma? What about all of that? Arjun, fight for that. This lets go of me and mine and what belongs to me and the attachment when you move and expand. Look, a father who goes on doing what's good for me, behaves one way at home, very rigid. But the father who says what's good for the family, then he has a wider lens on it. The rag and dvesh, the craving and aversion, is not so contracted, it has expanded. But then Lord Krishna takes Arjun to another level, not just what's good for society, but also as an offering to the divine, also as a selfless act in service to the divine or other people in front of you. This also loosens the rag and the dvesh. The senses do not run wild. You do not get caught up in the desire of I want it, I don't want it. You do not push the senses to fulfill these cravings and aversions. It purifies the intellect. It purifies the memory. It purifies, or we could say expands, the craving and aversion from me and mind to we and us and ours. Somebody to nobody to everybody. You see
Got
that?
it.
Okay, one more question.
Um, Hi, I had a question. It's in the chat as well. And
Okay.
your statement resonated, challenged me at the same time, which was about if we dwell too much, it causes attachment, which in turn causes suffering, anger, sadness, whatever, suffering. And so it made sense. And where it stretched me is, then how does manifestation, is manifestations dwelling with surrender? So I'm just, so that's my confusion and the space where I am deliberating that dwelling and attachment and suffering and manifestation, how does that interact with all of it?
Your question is confused. What is it you're really asking?
I am asking, if we don't dwell, then how does manifestation happen? Does all dwelling always result in attachment, or dwelling can also result with surrender into
No,
manifestation?
stop the drama. The answer is really simple. Action. It's a one-word thing. You want to manifest? Act. Done. Dwelling is go on, think I'm going to manifest this and it'll be like this. No, action. We spoke about this. Where is the mind when you're in full-on action? Present moment. Are you in craving and aversion when you're in action? No, you're just in action. Your breath and your body are the two things, leaving aside consciousness, that do not dwell in things. What dwells in things is your memory and your intellect and the mind. Correct? That is what dwells in things. Not the body and not the breath. So if you want to manifest something, act, 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 act. Done, deal. You know?
Thank you so much.
When we have a cold or fever, the mind takes a step back. Yes, it does. It goes internal. That's why then we don't want the food, we don't need to hear things, we don't need to smell things. But you don't have to have a fever to take a step back. It's not the smart way to learn to control the mind, you know? Looking at the consequence. If you know I'm going to fall into the hole, it's as good as getting sick, just walk around. You don't actually need to fall into the hole and say, okay, now I've pulled back. No. You see? Look at the consequence. Really look at like how we just talking about it. The mind goes, oh my God, didn't it do that to you as we're just discussing this together? Like, I can't do this. I feel so good after fasting. Yes, because the senses pull in. The body gets a break. The wild horses have been controlled at whatever level. And this little thing, what Guruji calls this little hole called mouth, talks a lot, eats a lot. You know? I'm happy to share this journey with you. Thank you for joining and staying disciplined with it for yourselves, for the group, and each other, you know? All right, let's close our eyes a moment. Nice long breath in. Another breath in. And let it go. Just the intention, I'm not interested in anything else. I have nothing to achieve or to do. No need to be a somebody, just simply to be here. Naturally retrieves the senses. And if the mind is judging, dissecting, figuring, let it, knowing you are not it. Thoughts, desires, ideas, wishes come and go by themselves. Satyam Param Dhimai. God bless everyone. Jai Gurudev.